I'm a longtime security guy, evident by the gray and the lack of hair. Um, but I wear a technology hat. I'm the CTO here at Highwire Networks. I focus mostly on finding new and exciting tools and technologies that will make security easier for our partners to take to their end customers. So I look at new things. I think about, does it solve a business problem? Is it something that makes sense? Is it something people are ready to absorb? And if so, we get them out in front of you guys. We talk about what we found, and then we figure out a way to go and make it available to your end customers. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is enable our partners and their end customers to be productive in what they do, not dealing with security risks or incidents or, hey, I can't get to this website. We want to take that action and that responsibility as part of what we do, partnered with you, enabling your customers to be successful. Not like none of us have the time or the bandwidth or the tool sets to go watch what you do, right? What we're really focused on is watching what the bad guys do and preventing them from doing something malicious or nefarious in your environments. At the end of the day, I always ask the question that, if your business can't operate because of a vulnerability or because of a ransomware event, can you make money, right? How long can you be without making money and survive? I live here in Nashville, and up the street there's a 6-chair dentist office, and you'd go, well, why do they care, right? They're just a small company. Well, they got ransomware, and they couldn't see patients for 2 weeks, right? They couldn't generate revenue and pay bills, and so all their employees aren't getting paid. They're not paying their bills. They almost went out of business. And so at the end of the day, I'm not trying to suggest that you have to do something or you'll go out of business, but the likelihood that the bad guys are looking closer at the mid-market SMB customers is high, right? If you think about the Fortune 500, they've all got teams. They got teams like us who do this for them. It's the mid-market SMB guys who don't. They need us because the bad guys have been beaten on the doors of the Fortune 500 and not having as much success. So where do they go next? They're going to go after high value data. And the high value data is credit cards, it's medical records, it's healthcare, right? It's the dentist office down the street. He's got HIPAA data. He's got data that's important. So let's go after him because, he's got a legacy endpoint and a cheap firewall, and he thinks that's enough. So at the end of the day, I always tell people, how long can you be without generating revenue? Because that is really the litmus test for how much you should spend on cybersecurity. So 3 things. One is, if your dentist office gets popped and becomes ransomware, it ends up on the news. Do you change dentists? And the answer is probably yes, right? Because there's a reputation in there. Your brand suffers when you get popped, right? That's number one. And by the way, Cyberinsurance won't fix that, right? Because the reputation's already out there in the internet, right? Now they do a search for a dentist nearby, and they find, oh yeah, they were on the news last week because they got compromised. So loss of reputation, can't get it back. I don't care how good your insurance is. 2, Cyberinsurance never pays as much as you think you need to recover. And that's just proven. That's right. It's like when you get in a car wreck, right? And you go get a few quotes. Do they ever give you the highest amount for the estimate? They don't.
Yeah. And are they going to give you the amount of value that was lost in your
That's
vehicle
right.
because it
They're
was
never
now
going to
in
give
an
you the
accident?
value of what you need. And then number 3, what Cyberinsurance is doing today is they're going to tell you, are you doing A, B, and C? And if the answer is no, they're going to say, well, you got to read the fine print because guess what? It's not covered. I'm not going to pay your claim.
Right.
So
Or they're going to
cyber
check your rate.
insurance is it's essential. Don't get me wrong, but it's getting harder to obtain it. The rates are going up, and then you have to prove a bunch of negative things, right? It's hard to prove a negative. How do I know something didn't happen? I don't know. How do I prove something didn't happen? And
Right.
that's what they're going to have to do. So as a end customer, they're going to have to prove we did these things or we didn't have these things happen. They can't, not without a cybersecurity program in place. There's a lot of really good small MSPs or even the one man shop who says, "Hey, I'm going to go put this brand X firewall in," and they turn it on, and those things do great, by the way, but they don't look at and breathe and live cybersecurity every day, right? They're going to go to their next job, which is, "Hey, my printer quit working," right? It's the
Mhm.
same guy. It's the same person doing that same work. So you can't expect that they're going to be good at detecting bad things. So do it yourselfers, I applaud that because it's better than nothing. But when you start thinking about risk, are they enough? Right? At 2 a.m., are they watching? Right? I've had folks go, well, I've got scripts running and I've got tools running. And so at 2 a.m., they'll wake me up. Are you sure? Right? Do you want to bet your business on that? Um, So what we're doing and how we're different is we find best of breed products that are affordable and attainable for our entire customer base, whether they're enterprise customers all the way down to that 6-person dentist shop. And we make them affordable and then we deploy them and watch them on their behalf. So while this picture behind me isn't our SOC, our security operations center, we have one like this. And I've got folks who are watching all day, every day. This is their job, and they look for those needles in the haystack. They're paid and trained to be experts at cybersecurity and cyber warfare. They know the bad things that are happening, and they respond. And so that's really the primary difference. Is the do-it-yourselfers. Again, we need them, but there's going to be a point where they can only do so much, and you need to go somewhere else if there's a risk driver in your organization, i.e., financial records, healthcare records, intellectual property that you don't want someone to take. I think there's really two answers I want to drive home. One of them is if you don't have a plan, right? If those who fail to plan will fail, right? I forget what the quote is. If you don't have a cybersecurity plan, then you should expect that you're going to fail. And to that point, risk drives everything we do, right? Do I drive through the snowstorm to go get bread or do I wait? Right? There's a risk conversation there. Um, do I hop on a plane tomorrow because of COVID or do I wait another week until more people have, been vaccinated? Those are all risk conversations. With regard to when do I move from the do-it-yourselfer to a more professional, systematic approach? It really is a function of risk. So at the end of the day, I tell everybody you got to have a program. You need a plan. You need a defense in depth approach, right? And this is exactly where you guys come into play. Setting them up with a plan is part of it, and then the execution of that plan with tool sets that do what you described, right? Prevention. Let's stop the bad activity as much as we can, and then let's put tools to detect when we can't or when they circumvent our preventions and response tools to fix it, right? So if your plan, if your defense and death plan doesn't include prevention, detection, and response, then you're missing out. And what you're seeing from us as a company, and what you're seeing in cybersecurity in general, is a shift. That shift. We used to be all about prevention. 20 years ago, we deployed firewalls like we were giving people glasses of water, and then we found out it wasn't good enough. We were doing some prevention, but we had to open holes to allow business to work, and in those open holes, we created risk. And then we saw a shift to detection. Let's go detect when the bad things are happening. And then response. And now we're shifting back to a balanced approach. Let's prevent as much as we can. Firewalls, endpoints, those are minimums, right? Having a next gen endpoint that's detecting or preventing, detecting, and responding is essential, right? We pick Sentinel One for that. That's what we do. Um,
Yeah.
other tool sets that do prevention, like our open prevention suite, is all designed around preventing 85 to 90% of the bad stuff from even getting to the end customer. It's that 10 or 15% that we have to focus on detecting and responding to. I think that model, and you're seeing it in the industry, is where we're headed. And I think that's the right approach. We we walked away from prevention. There were 10 years ago, people said firewalls are dead, endpoint security is dead. Well, look where we're at today, right? We've got more breaches that happen every day than we've had in the last 20 years. It just continues to escalate. Ransomware is a $20 billion industry. We're not preventing it. We have to be better at the prevention side. The response piece has to be immediate. And I'll throw you one more anecdotal story. The dwell time is a metric that cybersecurity people use, and it's really how long did the bad guys live in the network before we got rid of them, right? How long did it take you to find out you had a termite problem, right? That's the dwell time. So if we can catch them quicker with detection tools, well, let's prevent it first. But if we can't prevent something, let's detect them as quick as we can, and then have tools that kick them out as quick as we can. And so industry average over the last 10 years has been upwards of 150 days to 200 days. That's 200 days the termites are eating in your house, right? The bad guys are stealing everything you've got.
Yeah.
There's nothing left. And so we've got to be better at reducing that dwell time down to minutes instead of days. And that's really where we're headed. So there's a statistic that says you have to tell people 7 times before they get it, right? And we've all heard this number. Awareness has to be part of that conversation, because the bad guys are becoming more and more devious, right? Let's say you're a Bank of America customer and you get an email that looks like it's from Bank of America, and the I in America is an L. And so when you look at it on the screen, it looks like Bank of America, and you click on it, it's not, right? You've just increased your risk because your employee has done something. To me, awareness training is all about prevention, right? It's one of the stools of a prevention process. There is some response in there too, because you may have an employee go, hey, I just saw this. And now we in security can go, well, let me go block it for everybody. So we've just had a response mechanism. But primarily it's prevention. Let's teach them as much as we can. And literally it's got to be, 2 or 3 minute video clips that teach them a concept every month. It needs to be in front of them every month. And I think as a security practitioner, I get more ROI from teaching you to be better than I do from some other things that we do. So, and by the way, I don't scale to thousands of people, but my training does, right? So let's train as many as we can every month. Let's get it back in front of them. Whether it's using a program, we have a security awareness program as well. I think you guys may as well, but that needs to be top of mind. Let's teach our people. Let's hold them accountable, right? Every month you have to take this. And every month I'm going to kick off a report that goes to your leadership, and they're going to say who's doing it and who's not. Hold them accountable, because at the end of the day, they either stop or start risk. I'd prefer they stop it.
Totally.
So I think a couple of them. One of them is we take some of the best tools and we make them affordable and attainable, right? If you were to go and take what we built and try to build it yourself or find another party, there's always a significant price difference. There's a significant investment that they have to make. We take a lot of that off the table for you. We give you a service 7x24 for a per user per month price, and it just makes sense. 2, we have some of the best cybersecurity people watching and responding on your behalf. 3 is we don't force you to change your technology stack, right? A lot of our competitors will tell you, yeah, we can do everything Highwire does, but you got to put in our firewalls, you got to put in this, you can put in that. We don't believe in that because we know all of your customers have investments. So let's take that data in from whatever investment they have, whether it's Palo Alto or SonicWall or WatchGuard. Let's bring that data in and then let's provide the value instead of telling you, yeah, those WatchGuards, we don't do those. So buy our firewall, right? We don't do
Yeah.
that. Now, if you came to me and said, hey, our WatchGuards aren't working, do you have a firewall solution? Yeah, we'll help you there.
Right.
But
Yep.
at the end of the day, our job is not to dictate what tools you use, but to help enable those tools be better. So we bring them into that single pane of glass. We build correlations across all of that data set, and we build responses so that we can help reduce that dwell time, right? How long, when did they get in and how long did they live there? Number one is typically a phishing campaign, right? About 85% of all ransomware starts with a click, and that's scary. Um, Two, I think you see a lot of malware still getting propagated via email. So email security, endpoint protection, all of those are essential parts of that defense in depth approach. And then I think third is if you're not paying attention to websites that just popped up, you should be, right? Because most phishing campaigns or hacking campaigns are coming from websites that live for 5 days or less. Because what happens is, as a bad guy, I set up a website, I put all my nasty stuff on it, and I send you an email, and then you click on it. Or I put some search terms in, and we all know about search engine optimization. It pops up, you click on a link, you're on my website, you get infected. So those are the three probably biggest. The most bang for your buck is going to come back to let's knock down phishing, let's keep it from getting in, and we win.